death. What on earth could possibly be worse than death? Believe it or not, 73% of Americans are more afraid of public speaking than death. With social media on the rise, public speaking has become one of the most highly prized skills for individuals. So, I want to propose a different method for tackling speaking anxieties. As someone who's given many horrible speeches, I've become very aware of what not to do. And by focusing on what not to do, I've been able to tackle my own speaking anxieties. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. Today, I'm going to teach you how to give the worst speech ever. I will teach you how not to use your voice, what not to do with your face, and how not to move your body. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. One of the most instrumental elements of speech delivery is your voice. See what I did there? This instrument is capable of mass destruction on your speech delivery. So if you want to give it your worst, one way would be to oscillate your volume between two settings, as loud as a fire engine and as quiet as a mouse. It will completely throw your audience off. Another method is to speak in a monotone. Think of impersonating the most bland piece of food you can imagine, like tofu. Tofu is just a vehicle for flavor, and good speeches require flavor. So in our case, be bland. The final vocal method I want to discuss is your breath. As soon as you start your speech, instead of taking a nice, calming breath, I want you to gasp like a fish out of water. Your audience will become immediately concerned about whether or not you should be delivering a speech. So now that we've tackled the instrument of doom, it is time to face the focal point of your delivery. I'm sure you've heard the expression, eyes are the window to the soul. And for your speech delivery, your eyes are the focal point for your audience. According to author Mike Michalowicz's 2014 article, 7 Tips for Giving a Killer Speech, eye contact makes a person feel personally engaged in your speech, and engaged listeners are more likely to be persuaded. So, my first tip for giving it your worst is to avoid eye contact at all costs. You can imagine that you have searing laser beams shooting out of your eyes, and if you lock eyes with anyone, their head will explode. Another important facial tool is your expression. If you're given a talk about rainbows and unicorns, just make a mean and angry face. Your audience will have no idea about what's going on. Or, better yet, be expressionless and statuesque so you can bore your audience to death. Finally, we need to discuss head movement. If you oddly bobble your head around like a bobblehead, it will completely distract from everything that you're saying. So now that we've dealt with the head, it's time to move on down to the body. Although your body plays a lesser role in delivery, it is still a great tool for delivering a terrible speech. First, we'll focus on your appendages. Have you ever seen those inflatable dancing things at gas stations? Well, they're the prime example of what you should do. Just flail your arms around like crazy. Your audience will be so confused. Another alternative could be to imagine that you have glue sticking your arms to the sides of your body, rendering them stiff and immobile. These types of movements further distract from the point that you're trying to make. Another aspect to consider is how you move or don't move around your stage. I recommend staying in one spot. It will make your speech duller than a butter knife. Finally, and most importantly, posture is the most effective body technique that you can use. According to a 2018 Columbia University article by Jane Prager titled 5 Tips to Give a Great Speech, standing up straight shows that you have confidence in what you're talking about, and your audience will feel more inclined to listen. So, for our purposes, slouch your shoulders inward like there's a vortex in your belly button sucking you in. It just might make your audience cringe. Now that we have all of the necessary tools to create a terrible speech, it's time to roll the proverbial credits and end this show. I have taught you what not to do with your voice, how not to use your face, and what not to do with your body. I hope that these examples have given you more confidence in your speaking abilities, as they have for me. And maybe next time, when you're faced between choosing between the Grim Reaper or public speaking, you'll choose the latter. Thank you.